What's going on, guys? In the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, the Culling Games is an upcoming fight to the death involving both sorcerers and non-sorcerers from all across Japan. While there are a ton of rules surrounding this massacre, the main thing you need to know is that it was organized by Kenjaku, who wants to use the Culling Games as a ritual to forcibly evolve humanity. This ritual is estimated to last 2 months, and it will use the player's cursed energy to begin merging the people of Japan with Tengen, who is an immortal character that is over 1,000 years old. If humans were to evolve in this way, then evil would spread across the planet, and life as we know it would cease to exist. So the Culling Games definitely has the biggest stakes of the series so far. There are so many possibilities for how it could go down, and with me today to give our 100% guaranteed to happen predictions is Zhoniin. So tell me, how do you feel about that percentage?
Maybe, take it down to 0.1 or just a whole one, maybe. 99% is maybe more accurate.
Yeah, 99 is still good. I reckon we can aim for that. But yeah, so we have quite a few predictions to go through, so let's see your best one first, and then we can move on from there.
Okay, so we're talking the Culling game, and
Yeah.
I'm very curious, how long this arc is going to last, because that also plays into, some of these predictions, because, if it's not the final arc of the series, then maybe some of this stuff might not happen in it, because that's just ultimately what I'm curious about, because I know that Gege is coming to the end of the series. He said 2 years or something like that. Did you hear about that?
Man, he wants to wrap this up as soon as he can, by the sounds of it. But yeah, I think, just my personal opinion, I don't think this is the final arc. I think it's the penultimate arc. I think there's one more thing after this. After this stuff is done, I reckon Sukuna is going to be the main threat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with both points. I think this is probably the penultimate arc, and that Sukuna is the final villain. But, and just like I was just saying, maybe that's not the case. Not with Sukuna, but just with maybe this is the last arc. Maybe it's the Blood War arc in Bleach. And I know that was more of a saga or something, but some of that final part of the arc was 100 chapters long. Same thing with Naruto, actually. Just really long arcs to send off the series. But anyway, that brings me to the first thing, and that is Sukuna does the Enchain and takes over Yuji. That moment finally happens.
Yeah, I had this one down as well. You can't not have this. But go on, let's hear your reasoning.
So he says Enchain, takes over Yuji, and it's double significant because first of all, he's doing it, so that's a huge moment, but now he's in the Culling game while he's doing it. So he starts making rules as Yuji in the Culling game. I don't know, he just does something and kills 1,000 people or something and just makes 10 rule changes instantly. There's so many things that he could do that would benefit himself and also probably screw over Kenjaku in the process too.
I don't think they're enemies like that, though. I feel maybe Sukuna could actually use Kenjaku's plan to his advantage in some way.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, at first, it seems like they are pseudo-allies at the minimum. But also, I get the feeling that Sukuna is one of those guys. It's no one is really my friend. And it's ultimately, me versus the world.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the rules he would make, one thing I was thinking that I had written down was that any rule he would create is almost tailored to Megumi, because obviously we all know he has a plan for Megumi, right? If he does make a rule, whatever he has planned for Megumi, it will tie into that and make that happen. And I guess the ultimate goal is for him to get his physical body back using Megumi in some way.
Sukuna is basically waiting for Megumi to unlock his full power or just unlock a certain ability that he may or may not have. I think he's waiting for that moment so that he can take Megumi's curse technique from him. Because that's I think going to be the big twist about Sukuna is that he has multiple curse techniques.
I get that because, he had that fire thing, which I don't even know how he got that. So I can definitely see him stealing it. I don't know how it works though. Maybe he's like Yuta though, in that he has so much cursed energy that he can copy whatever he wants to, maybe.
Akotu copies curse techniques just by, I guess, being in your presence. I don't know if you ever saw that show Heroes from 10 years ago. No, 20 years ago, actually.
I've seen bits of it because my girlfriend's obsessed with it. So I might know what you're about to say.
Well, the main character, if he just comes in contact with you, he gains your ability. And I think that's the same thing with Akotu, because it's never explicitly stated. how he gains your ability. It's just we've seen him just be in the presence of someone. But with Sukuna, it could be that he like eats you.
What?
Okay, yeah, I know. Sukuna has like allegedly has like a mouth in his stomach. You can see like the outline of it and like what appears to be a tongue, like when you look at him on the cover. So yeah, I mean it's not like blatant, but it's something certainly there. But also I'm pretty sure that Sukuna, just in general, like the mythology of him, he has like a mouth stomach, or there's like other, I should have came more prepared, but I didn't bring up my research on this, but I did see it. There's like Sukuna mouth imagery stuff. So basically he eats you with his mouth and then he gains your curse technique that way.
Yeah. Well, on that topic, actually, so one of my predictions was that so Megumi has a stepsister, and every time we've heard about her, we've heard how close they are and how much he cares about her. So I feel like with her participating in the Culling Games, Sukuna could, if Tsumiki is dying, Sukuna could offer Yuji some kind of binding vow maybe, and in return he can save her life, but Megumi has to give up his curse technique willingly. So it's not even like he's stealing it, it's like, I will give this to you to save her kind of thing. I thought that was a possibility. Moving on to my next prediction. So we both know there's going to be a crap ton of deaths in this thing, especially as the whole purpose of the Culling Games is for people to kill each other, so it's guaranteed to happen. So one of the deaths that I'm pretty sure about is Hikari. Now, this guy was recently like properly introduced in the last chapter actually. So we've just got to know him, and he is giving me serious Naoya vibes because he's super strong. Like Yuta seems to think really highly of him, and he just seems like a type of character who is gonna come on board with the team, gonna be super strong, gonna do some awesome stuff, and he's gonna die. He's just giving me those vibes because I feel like as brave as Gege is with killing off characters, he's not gonna kill off Yuta, I don't think. He's not going to kill off Yuji. He's not going to kill off Megumi. I feel like Hikari is just in that right sweet spot, the same way that Naoya was, where you can actually just kill him. So Hikari is the character that I am 99.999% sure he's not making it out of the Culling Games alive.
Wow, that's a super, super bold prediction after his introduction chapter. See, I kind of felt the opposite. I thought that if somebody was going to die here, it was going to be a Kotsu, but you seem to think that that's not an option.
No, I don't think so. This world that Gojo's trying to build, right, with all these, he's trying to build the next generation of people who can surpass him and take his place whenever he's dead. And I feel like Okotsu is at the front of that, right? Like that next generation, you need Okotsu. He's basically like almost like an MC, right? So I feel like he has that MC plot armor, even though he's technically not the main character, but I feel like he still has that veil of protection that would stop him from being killed. Maybe he gets a serious injury, but I mean, then again, he has reverse curse technique, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
I mean, as we've seen in the series, it's not like everybody's safe, and that's another thing that I like about it, is that not everybody's safe. No offense against My Hero or One Piece or the other top series, but death isn't always guaranteed. Sometimes you kind of go into an arc with this like sense of security, I'll say. I mean, I kind of feel that all the time with My Hero, but with Jujutsu Kaisen, that's not necessarily the case.
But that being said, I still do think there are certain, just a small handful, who are just a little bit protected, with the ones I said earlier being among them. But someone who is not in that is Chozo. Chozo is someone besides Hikari. He's another character that I'm fairly certain is going to die, and I actually have a pretty decent idea of how it's going to happen. We already know that he's one of the two people protecting Tengen at the moment, and that kind of invites at some point that Kenjaku will arrive, right? And so when Kenjaku comes face to face with these guys, Chozo is by default the weakest person there. If they all fight, Chozo's probably gone. I mean, I'm pretty sure he nearly died in Shibuya anyway. So yeah, I reckon he's gonna die. Probably not gonna get to see Yuji again before he dies. But yeah, gonna be a really sad scene, I bet.
I think that's a perfect candidate, actually. You nailed it on the head. Yeah, Chozo. Now that I think about it, it's perfect. Yeah, he for sure is going to die because he's like, he's right at that level of importance where like Anonymous was and the audience loves him now.
Yeah.
So yeah, perfect time.
Now, last person I had that I'm pretty sure is gonna die, Panda. Don't know if you agree with this one.
Oh no!
But you don't think so? I feel like...
after the whole chapter that we had with Masabichi dying.
Well, that's the thing. So like, his death. Who does Panda have left now? You know what I mean? Like, he has his friends.
Friendship.
He has friendship. I mean, the power of friendship in this series can only get you so far, because we saw what happened to Nobara. So I feel like
it's true.
Let's put it this way: if there was ever a scenario where someone has to sacrifice himself, who's gonna put their hand up? It's probably gonna be him, because, like I said, he has nothing really left besides his friends. So I think he would die for them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Panda is certainly a candidate. It would just suck because, like, god damn, he had such a hard life.
Not so great a year for him. Not so great a year. But let's see your next prediction.
So, Gojo breaking out of the prison realm.
I don't know, actually, because it all kind of relies on that, what was her name again? The angel girl. The one with the power to nullify curse techniques, like...
Hana Karusu.
Exactly. We don't know what her personality's like yet. I don't know if she'd be willing to help them. I don't know. Why do you think he definitely will come out?
Well, because it was set up like for 2 chapters, like before, or either the beginning of the arc or right before it started. So I'm assuming that's got to be one of the elements of it. And then also, she's a participant within the game, the one person that they actually need.
Yeah, you're totally right. It is being set up for sure. Like, they're gonna try. The one thing I wonder though, because Gojo is so OP. There was one panel where Megumi was like, if Gojo was free, he'd sort this all out in 30 seconds. So I feel like Gege on purpose would probably keep him locked away for as long as possible, because in this time that he's away, it's the perfect time to flesh out everyone else and make everyone else fight this battle, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
If he does come out this arc, it will literally be like probably the last thing that happens before we move on to the next one.
But I was also thinking that maybe when he comes out, that's when Sukuna has like fully revived or something.
Yeah, because their fight was foreshadowed pretty much from day one, right?
It's foreshadowed actually like 2 or 3 times. It's foreshadowed at the very beginning, and then there's another. I made a video about it, but I forget the exact things I talked about. But yeah, I think it's going to definitely happen. Like, Gege talks about it, and I don't think it's like a throwaway thing.
How would you see that going, to be fair? Like,
I think Sukuna has to win. Not because necessarily he's stronger or power scaling or whatever, but I'm just talking narrative wise. I think Sukuna, he has to win that to establish that he's pretty much unbeatable. Like, Gojo has built himself up the whole entire series by people having people job to him, like losing in order to establish somebody's power or dominance. And then it ultimately leads to him being the ultimate jobber because he loses to Sukuna. And then it's like, okay, so now not even Gojo could take down the big bad. Now we need the MCs to do it.
What you just said, it reminded me of the beginning of Infinity War. You remember when like Thanos just beat down Hulk?
Like, it's iconic. Yeah, beaten down with no stones or anything. Just base Thanos. Base Sukuna.
Yeah. So one prediction I had about Sukuna, this was foreshadowed early on as well, and that was the idea that Yuji will gain his curse technique, Sukuna's curse technique, because when Gojo was teaching Yuji about, the idea of what that is, there was this one panel when Gojo was like kind of implying that Yuji will inherit the Sukuna's technique, basically. So I feel like at some point in the Culling Games, not only will we get more explanation on Yuji's false memories ability, but we will also see him also like gaining a little bit of control over Sukuna's cleave and dismantle abilities. Possibly maybe towards the end when Sukuna, gets his own body. Yeah, I feel like that's something that should happen.
I agree. I actually forgot to bring that up. That's something that I wrote, or just mentally wrote down coming into this, because I do remember Gojo talking about that, but that was also a very long time ago. And it's definitely going to pay off for sure. But just like, when is that? I guess it's got to be soon. Like maybe in like the next like big fight that happens within the Culling game. We might see Yuji eventually tap into that.
What if he kills someone, in fact? Because we all know how Yuji feels about like killing people. If he did that by accident and killed someone, I reckon that'd be a pretty funny reaction from him.
I think that he will. I think that there's going to be at least one casualty, like human person that he kills. Maybe because it's like an accident or he's like absolutely forced to do it.
Yeah. Did you have any more predictions?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So, last one to mention, Megumi will finally master his domain expansion on the third time lucky, because we've seen him do it twice now in the manga where he's partially manifested it, but not quite. And I think we could have a gentle and brava situation where Tsumiki's curse technique, whatever it may be, that might actually help Megumi to finally master the domain expansion. What do you think about that?
That's brilliant, actually. I always thought that Tsumiki's curse technique was, I don't know, going to be some detrimental for some reason. Like it was going to be something that she couldn't control. I don't know why I felt this way. I kind of was getting that impression that they were going to have to inadvertently fight her for some reason. But if it's like the other way, and that it complements Megumi and actually unlocks the full Chimera Shadow Garden, that would be really cool, actually. What do you think a full 100% Chimera Shadow Garden could be?
I feel like we saw how he was able to duplicate himself and also duplicate the Shikigami, right? And that's only with the partial domain. So I feel like with the full thing, he could make unlimited copies of himself, unlimited copies of his Shikigami from the shadows. And I guess I'm not sure if he would have had Mahoraga by that point. You know, he will get it eventually, but if he does have Mahoraga, could you imagine if he made like 10 Mahoragas and just, you know, whoever he's got in there just attacks them with that? I mean,
that's perfect, actually, because that would be, I mean, I assume this is happening in the final arc, like when he has just like an army of Mahoragas in his domain, because that would be very fitting for like the Deuteragonist's final power up. You know, this is like his Renegon with the Manyeko Sharingan and the perfect spiritual giant thing. I forget the name. Susanoo, if you know Naruto. But yeah, the army of Mahoragas. That just sounds
awesome. Like
almost too good to be true, actually.
Why not? You know, especially like you say, if it's the final arc, to hell with it. You can do whatever you want, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, with that said, thank you for coming on the channel. And for anyone watching this video, be sure to check out Shonen's channel because he does JJK chapter reviews every week. You do other videos as well, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Thanks for watching, guys. And until the next one, peace out.